In this video, we'll step through setting up the system, using the system, and show some best practices from home builder Gary Striegler. Setting up the Kreg Deck Jig System. To set up your deck jig, attach the 3 drill guides to the base. Start by inserting 2 nuts in the locating holes on the bottom side of the base. Set the guide, and then tighten down with the included screws. After all 3 drill guides are tightened down firmly, you are ready to apply the rubber feet. To help minimize slipping on the board, the deck jig comes with rubber feet. Simply remove from the backing and adhere them to the designated locations on the bottom of the base. Setting the depth collars. The deck jig has recessed gauges built into it to set the depth collars for your drill bit and driver bit. These collars ensure proper hole and screw depth. Simply set the depth collar in the gauge, slide the driver bit through, and tighten securely with the included Allen wrench. Repeat this step using the drill bit setting on the other side of the jig for the drill bit. Securing your screw at the proper depth will result in the strongest possible joint with minimal exposure to the elements. Deck screws. The deck jig comes with a sample pack of deck screws. We offer 2 types of screws, ACQ approved ProTech coat and stainless steel for added corrosive resistance. Screws come in quantities of 100 and 700. The 700 count includes a driver bit and is approximately enough to complete a 10 by 20 deck. Spacer rings. There are 2 sizes of spacer rings, 5/16 and 1/4 inch included with your deck jig. These spacer rings act as a guide to help you create consistent spacings between each deck board. If your decking material is prone to expansion and contraction, we recommend using the 5/16 spacer rings, as that will help maintain proper spacing even after significant expansion. Deck jig basics. The Kreg Deck Jig allows you to drill a specialized hole at an optimized angle to secure your deck boards to the deck joists. The hole is created by a stepped or shouldered bit which drills the pocket hole and pilot hole for the screw in one motion. The depth of the hole is controlled using a depth collar. The Kreg Deck Jig also guides your screw as it is driven so it follows the exact path necessary, and so you don't overdrive or underdrive the screw. Place the screw on the driver bit, position it in the drill guide, and drive fully until your depth collar reaches the drill guide. The Kreg Deck Jig is equipped with 3 drill guides, a center guide, and 2 angle guides. Using the center guide in the center of the joist gives you the strongest joint and is recommended whenever possible. When the edge is obstructed, or when splicing 2 boards on the center of a joist, the angle guides now allow you to secure the boards. Best practices.
Congratulations on investing in the Kreg Deck Jig System. That tells me you're the kind of person that really likes to do things right. Everybody's been on a bad deck that's got loose boards and maybe even a nail sticking up that you could trip over. The Kreg Deck Jig System lets you build beautiful decks that are safe and add lasting value to your home. Best of all, it only takes basic skills that you've already got. If you can cut boards, drill holes, and drive screws, you're ready to build decks the Kreg way. Let's get started.
Drilling along a long run.
When I'm working on this long run of deck boards, I always want to be drilling the edge of the board that's away from me first. That way all the pressure of drilling and driving is pushing back towards the spacers. Then after I'm secured this entire edge, then I'll turn around and drill and drive back against the edge that's already held in place by the screws.
Drilling on a splice.
Now I'm down at the end of the board and it's splicing in the middle of this joist. I need to use the edge guide so that the screw still goes in and catches in the middle.
drilling on an end.
Down at the end of the deck, I'm able to slide the jig all the way out to the end and use the middle drilling guide, which gives me the most holding power. We call that an unobstructed end. And I want to use this middle guide anytime I can. Well, as you can see, I'm about to work myself into a corner, but the jig's got a feature that lets me deal with that. It's this angle drilling guide. All I've got to do is lay the jig down, slide it over against the house, and drill this hole. And drive a screw, and this end is still going to be fastened down. Well, this is the part of the job you want to get to, where you're finishing up. But I can't use the angle drill guide on this last board and a half because there's just not enough room. So what I'm going to do is drill a starter hole using the bit and come down through the top like this. And I want to run that screw to where it's just barely below the surface. Now for this edge of the board, I can still do the standard drilling. But for the last board, I'm going to have to drill both the holes down through from the top.
Running boards on a 45-degree angle.
Now we're running our deck boards on a 45-degree angle, but I can still use the jig. All I have to do is line this center guide up with the point the edge of this deck board meets the edge of the joist. And when I get over closer to the building, I just use the angle guide.
Stairs.
The Kreg Deck Jig System will also work to put these treads on the stairs. There's a couple things you need to know though. First of all, we want to start at the bottom and work our way up so that we've always got room to drill our holes and drive the screws. The second thing is, if you're going to put risers on your stairs, you need to wait until all of the treads are in place to put the risers in. Now on this first tread board, we'll be able to screw both sides. I did have to use the angle guides back in here. When we get out to the second board, I'm going to be able to use the angle guides on the back edge, but on the front edge I'll have to go ahead and put a screw down through the top like I've done here.
Whether you are building a complete new deck or simply resurfacing one you already have, now you have the tools to build safe, beautiful decks with concealed fasteners and the Kreg Deck Jig System.